lost her to alcohol poisoning. Lost her. There is no coming back from death. Only one man conquered death. Only one man came back. Well, Lazarus too. There was a few more. Don't try it, okay? And now look at her. The youth. We need to pray for the young people of this church. Let me tell you something. They need our prayers. We need people like Angelia to stand up against homosexuality, against drugs, against disobedience. You know, there's power in disobedience. When you're a disobedient child, that's an unhappy family. There's nothing that makes a father more proud than an obedient child. So I'm proud to see this youth is starting to evolve into something bigger and better and greater. And I know that our youth pastors have big plans for this youth coming in the new year. And I'm excited. And you know, Mariah had a little job this summer, paid her tithe every week. Every week, didn't miss a week, every week. You know why churches will slowly disappear over the next 20 and 30 years? Because mom and dad haven't taught them how to tithe, how to give, how to be faithful. Let me tell you something about faithful. Cody, raise your hand just like that. This is my friend I work with. Give him a hand clap. Amen. Cody, you're a man of your word. You said, I'm going to be there, and you showed up. You know, there's another man closer to me, whom I thought closer to God, who said he'd be here, and he ain't here. I don't like when people do that. But this man said, I'll be there. He showed up. It's funny when you think who you think would be there and isn't, and who you think wouldn't be there and is. Amen? And so we need to teach our youth how to be men and women of their word and how to give and have. Because if we don't tithe and give, and we don't teach our children to tithe and give, how the church going to survive in 25 years when you're gone? When you're gone, and you haven't passed that on to them. Amen. All right, youth, you dismissed. The nursery is dismissed. The Sunday schools are dismissed. Ooh, I'm excited today, church. Let me tell you why. Because I haven't preached in 3 weeks. Last week was Bishop's special service. The week before that was Pastor Appreciation Day. And the week before that was our trick-or-trunking service. And so now I got to deliver this baby. Now I got to go forth. And I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about what God is doing. Listen, I want to tell you something. Keep a bishop in your prayers too. You know, he had his surgery. He's got like 20 stitches in his knee, and he's hobbling around, and he needs help getting up and help getting down and help to the restroom and help out of the restroom. When was the last time you needed help going to the restroom? Amen? How humbling is that? How humiliating is that? You know? But you know what? He's doing it. He's doing what he has to do, and his appetite is gone, and he's resting, and you can tell he's not himself because of everything that's going on that comes with a surgery like that. So I encourage you. You know, we put up a little thing on the Facebook that if you want to buy a lunch or do dinners for him and Sister Amy, you know, you can do that. Well, maybe you can't do that. Maybe you say, you know what, I don't have time to do that. But here's $20, or here's $15, or here's some Starbucks money, or here's some Pizza Hut money, or here's $10, and you let him buy some soda, or just give him a phone call and say, Bishop, you know, we're thinking about you. You know, drop him a line, drop him a note. It's just encouraging to know that people are thinking about him and people love him. So I encourage you, fire starters, to not forget about him. And just put him on the forefront of your mind, that God would heal him and God would touch him, and that he would be just right where he needs to be. Amen? So keep him in prayer. Okay, let's do this. The title of my sermon is, What Do You Do When Your Dream Dies? What do you do when your dream dies? Now, it's funny because even though I'm like 25 or something years old, and how many times have I had a dream and then it died, and then I had another dream and then that dream died, and then I had a thought and then that dream died, you know. What do you do when your dream dies? It seems like, you know, God puts you on a course. You know, you get into a relationship and you think, this relationship is going to last forever. My dream is that I'll be with this one person forever, and then they leave. And your dream dies. Or you say, you know what, this job is a dream job. This is a good job. I'm going to be in this job forever. And then all of a sudden, you know what, you quit or you get laid off or they go under and now your dream has died. Or you say, this is where I want to be. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take the world on. It's the best I've ever felt. And then the phone rings and the doctor says you got diabetes or you got cancer or you got this or you got that. And all of a sudden your dreams of a healthy, long life has just been shattered. What do you do when your dream dies and you're raising your babies and you give the babies your best and you give them your love and you give them your time and you give them your money and you protect them and clothe them and house them, and then late at night the cops call you and tell you we've arrested your son or we've arrested your daughter, and your dream of your children it died because now that's not the life I had dreamt up for them. But what do you do when your dream dies? John 21, verse 1 through 19. Now, this is after the crucifixion. This is after Peter had denied Christ 3 times. It's funny because to have a friend deny you is devastating. I started a job, and the man at the job says, listen, we can't call you Pastor Vic here on the job. I said, why? Am I not pastor anymore? He says, no, we can get a lawsuit for, we can get sued for calling you pastor. I said, well, then what am I? I said, I'm pastor in the house. I'm pastor out the house. I'm pastor on vacation. I'm pastor working. I'm pastor now even when I sleep. I'm Pastor Vic. He said, no, not here. It's like he denied me. He denied me the right of that honor, of that friendship, of that relationship. So here Peter denies Christ 3 times, and one of the times he's even swearing and cussing and says, I don't know that blankety blank man. I don't know the blankety blank you're talking about. And then Jesus is crucified, and he dies on the cross. When Peter's dream was that he would follow Christ into the next years of his life, that he would follow Christ and establish a church that would last forever, that he would follow Christ and he would be his right-hand man in season and out of season, in war and out of war, in victory and defeat, that he would always be there for Jesus in the garden. He says, Jesus, I'll even die with you. Jesus, I'll go to the cross with you. Or Jesus, I'll never leave your side. And then that turkey gets the chance to prove it, and he fails the test. But on the other side now, we got to step into Peter's shoes. I mean, maybe there's something right about this man saying, I can't call you pastor on the job. But I said, I will call you brother on the job. Brother Ishmael, Sister Grace, Sister Erica, Brother Adam. I don't care where we are. That's who you are. Whether you paying me or I'm paying you, that's who you are. I won't deny you that. So Peter watches Jesus die on the cross. And with his last breath and with his life leaving his body, he has to realize that his dream has died. What happens when your dream dies but you're still alive? What happens when your dream dies and you're still alive? What does a mama do when she has to bury her baby and her dream has died but she's still alive? What does a daddy do when he doesn't want his wife to leave him and his dream of being married forever, and the wife leaves anyway and his dream dies but he's still alive? I wish I was dead. Sometimes you say those words, I wish I had died that day. I wish I had died that night my dream had died. So Peter watches Jesus die and he says, what do I do now? Because my dream has died. After these things, verse 21, or chapter 21, verse 1, after these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. And in this way, he showed himself to Peter, Thomas, Nathanael, of Canaan in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and two other of the disciples who were together. Peter said to them, I am going fishing. They said to him, we are going with you also. Then they went out and immediately got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. See, they used to be men of God. They were disciples. They were preachers. They were ministers. They were missionaries. When Christ was alive, when Jesus was alive, they were men of God. They were preachers and teachers. They were ministers and they were receivers and they had a job to do. And when in the beginning, God goes and finds them fishing, and he says, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. He goes to their job site and he says, stop pumping gas and follow me. He goes to their job site. He says, stop being a cashier and follow me. He goes to their job site and says, stop working in the warehouse and follow me. He goes to their job site and says, stop being an accountant and follow me. So they leave their jobs and they follow him. But now that he's gone, now that their dream is dead, he says, I'm going back to what I used to do. Sometimes when it feels like our dreams are shattered, sometimes when it feels like God has left us, or God has forsaken us, or God has forgot about us, it seems like we always go back to something familiar. That's why a woman that's in an abusive relationship, 9 times out of 10, will find another abusive man because she's comfortable in abuse. My God, don't ever be comfortable in abuse. Sometimes when an addict, I'm an addict. I am an ex-addict. I'm an addict. Sometimes when life gets hard, you sit down and say, I'm going to go back to what I used to do because the drugs were so powerful. The drugs were so mind-changing and so mind-numbing and turned me into a zombie that I'm going to go back to what I knew before God called me. So he goes back. He says, I'm going fishing. He says they fished all night and caught nothing. Let me tell you something, church, is that when you feel like your dream has died and you go back to what God has brought you from, you will produce nothing. You will produce nothing. But when the morning now had come, Jesus stood on the shore, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Isn't that human? Jesus was on the shore, and yet they did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus had been with me the whole time, yet I did not know that Jesus was with me. Jesus had been talking to me the whole time, yet I did not know it was Jesus talking. Jesus had been listening to me the whole time, yet I did not know that he was listening. 5. Then Jesus said to them, children, have you any food? And they answered him and said, no. And he said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. So Jesus says, listen here, you're doing it wrong. And when you do it wrong, you produce nothing. And when you do it without me, or without my consent, or without my direction, you will catch nothing. So now Jesus steps in, and he says, listen, I know you went back to what you were doing, and you're doing it wrong, but if you listen to my voice and follow my direction, then I can make something out of nothing. So he says, throw the net on the other side. So they cast, and now they were not able to draw it in because of the multitude of fish. Sometimes you have to just go to the other side. Sometimes you got to stop messing with the person on the left and start messing with the person on the right. Sometimes you got to stop doing the things over here on the left side and start doing things over here on the right side. It's funny that the fish, and I always thought this, and this is just a preacher's thought, do you think that the fish were there the whole time, or that God just produced the fish automatically in their net? You ever think that? I mean, where were the fish? I mean, they were there, right? They were fishing all night, right? They caught nothing. And then Jesus speaks a word. You ever had Jesus speak a word? Listen, God can say 3 letters and change your whole life. He can say, let, L-E-T. Let my people go. Let me open the door. Let me move you from this side to that. When God word, and he can say 2 letters. He can say go, and you gone. God can say move,